Hello, healthy humans, and welcome to our third episode of Inspired Nourishment. This is a place where we aim to answer all of your questions. And don't worry if you haven't sent one our way, there's still time. Just email us at questions@lowfatlowcarb.com, and we'll be highlighting one question every week. Hopefully you will find great value from these episodes. So let's get started. So our question this week comes from one of our readers, and she was wondering, are there any food and drinks that she could eat that would help her with her anxiety? So this is great timing because we just are putting out our newest infographic. If you haven't been receiving them, make sure you sign up for our newsletters. You'll be getting them every week. And this week we are highlighting the 5 ways to boost your mental health. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit of that with you today. Of course, mental health is a huge, vast area that we could dive into, but we're going to try and keep this episode to some very specific things that you can do to help reduce anxiety. I think part of what we need to remember is that anxiety is not just in your head. So yes, it often is defined by having some troublesome or worried thoughts that you repeat over and over again, causing stress and chronic stress in the body, and sometimes even leading to panic attacks. So yeah, it is coming from a place of negative thinking. However, there are also biochemical ways that you could be experiencing some mental health imbalance that could be referred to, or that could be triggered by anxiety or as a form of anxiety. So one of the things that I'm going to remind you of is that we need something called serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that actually makes us feel calm and happy. It's largely produced in the brain, but also in the gut. I don't know if you've heard of this, but the brain and the gut are very interrelated. Actually, there are some people that call our gut the second brain because they have a lot of the same neurotransmitters, the same receptors, and so they share the same properties in a way. So what we want to do when we're thinking of mental health is yes, obviously want to support the body with whole, live, natural foods. We also want to make sure that we have a healthy gut. So if you have a disbalance in the gut or something called leaky gut, that could also be contributing to your anxiety or even some of your other mental imbalances like depression or even some phobias that you could have. So we want to remember that 80 to 90% of serotonin is manufactured in the gut. So we want to keep our gut nice and healthy. But when it comes to food, what does that have to do with the gut and mental health? How do we link it all together? Let's start by saying that one of the key things you want to do, I already mentioned it, but I'm going to say it again, is you want to focus on eating live, whole, natural foods, right? When you're eating a lot of processed foods, and even sometimes what I like to refer as comfort foods, you're not boosting your body with nutrition. So anytime there's some form of imbalance in the body, whether that be extra inflammation or just, you're feeling bloated all the time, or you're getting into a bout of anxiety or depression, you want to make sure that you're jamming your body full of nutrients. So eating highly nutritious foods, nutrient-dense foods like dark leafy greens, we talk about this all the time at Low Fat, Low Carb, and also berries. So I have some berries here for you today, and I'm going to show you. Here is it is 1 cup of fresh berries. So I have about 10 raspberries in here and 3 large strawberries. That's what it looks like. And what's great about berries is that they're high in antioxidants, and they help to lessen, because of that, it helps to lessen stress in the body, lessen inflammation in the body, and get rid of toxicity. So when you have a disbalanced gut, so we talked about having a healthy gut, when your gut is less than healthy, it can actually produce the bacteria that's in there that isn't healthy, can actually produce toxicity in the body. So, and then plus we get toxicity from all around us, right? Our environment is toxic. It sounds awful the way I'm saying it, but there's a lot of toxicity. The products that we put on our skin can be toxic. The pesticides on our food can be toxic. And it's okay because our body is equipped to reduce that and eliminate that as much as possible. But antioxidants are also a great way of helping supporting your immune system, supporting your body to eliminate toxicity, lessen inflammation, and lessen stress. So you could add some berries to your diet to help with your mental health. What I also want to recommend and why I think berries are great is because they're also high in fiber. So there have been studies that showed that blood sugar imbalance, so a lot of sugar in your blood and a little bit of sugar in your blood, this like big peaks and valleys of blood sugar levels can trigger anxiety, especially if you're prone to that. So what do? You want to make sure that you're eating several small meals throughout the day. So I would love for you, if this is something that you're battling with, to really start to think about having fat, protein, and carb and fiber at every meal and snack, and working at eating every 2.5 to 3 hours. So sometimes that may seem overwhelming, especially if you're eating breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack. I get a lot of people that ask me, well, Patricia, what are healthy snacks? And I feel like I'm eating all the time. So maybe starting to look at having mini meals. So instead of having large amounts and then small amounts, you want to just maybe make yourself a big breakfast, but have half of it for breakfast, an hour within waking up, and then 2.5 to 3 hours later, you would have the other half. And you'd want to make sure there's protein. So protein, if you're not a vegetarian, comes from animal sources. So you could have a big omelet or some scrambled eggs. Fat, there's also fat in eggs, so that's great. And then you could always add some more fats, and I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. And then, so we said protein, fats, and carbs. So where do you get your carbs? Especially if you're on a low-fat, low-carb journey, you're going to get your carbs from either fruit or vegetables. And of course, we like to focus on vegetables. So in your scrambled eggs, you could put some tomatoes, you could put some spinach, you could put some kale, some onions. Onions are also great for the body, supporting the immune system. You can make a nice big batch of that, have half for breakfast, have the other half for your morning snack. If you eat wraps, you could put it in a wrap or a lettuce wrap and make it a little bit different to keep it exciting. So coming back to berries, berries are high in fiber, and fiber helps the body maintain blood sugar levels. So they're a healthy fruit to have because they have so much nutrition, and then they also won't spike your blood sugar. Except they're a carbohydrate, right? So what do you want to do? You want to add some fat and protein. I have here an example. I'm just going to show you. What is this? Greek yogurt. Yes, so I'm not a huge fan of dairy. I really think it's important to limit your dairy intake because dairy can be inflammatory to the body. But Greek yogurt, especially if you're a vegetarian, is a nice source of protein. You want to make sure that it is sugar-free, so just plain, and don't worry about the fat content. Get the natural Greek yogurt. The fat content is actually going to help you. It's beneficial. And yes, yogurt does have some probiotics. Probiotics, if you've never heard of them before, they are basically a bacteria that is in food that can actually help your gut. So you want to have rich probiotic foods. Yogurt does have probiotics in it, but stay away from the sugared yogurt. So yeah, you want to heal your gut, but you want to stay away from sugar, especially sugared yogurt, because I think the beneficial bacteria in sugary yogurt there's not much left by the time you eat it, so you're just getting a lot of unnecessary carbohydrates. Speaking of probiotics, you can definitely supplement probiotics, so you can buy them in capsule form. If you've ever taken antibiotics, I would highly recommend that you supplement probiotics. So probiotics are great for your mental health because they boost your immune system, they repopulate your gut so that you have a healthy gut. And we talked about gut and brain health is super linked, so you want to supplement with probiotics if you've taken antibiotics. If you have not taken antibiotics in the last 7 years, that's a long time, you can get away with eating foods that are rich in probiotics. So yogurt, any fermented dairy, so kefir, if you've heard of it, it's actually quite trendy now. You can find it in most grocery stores, except again, stay away from sweetened kefir. And if you can, even think of purchasing goat milk kefir. Sometimes it's hard to find in just regular grocery stores, but goat milk, the protein in goat milk is actually closer to human milk than the protein in cow's milk. So it's something to consider if you do drink milk or eat dairy, to have goat dairy over cow dairy. So kefir, another fermented food would be sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut. My kids love sauerkraut. Super easy to make. If you're purchasing it, you want to purchase it from the health food section of your store, making sure that it's in the fridge and it's non-pasteurized. So the sauerkraut that comes in the big jars on the shelf, they actually don't have probiotics in them. They're not fermented at this point. They've been pasteurized, and all of that benefit is gone. So you want to get sauerkraut from the health food section in the fridge, or make your own. There's some great ways to make sauerkraut, super easy. Maybe we'll put some links below for you to try some recipes at home. Kimchi is another variation of sauerkraut that is also fermented and high in probiotics. Tempeh, if you're vegan, you're familiar with tempeh. If not, then it might be something that you want to try. It is a soy product, but it's a fermented soy product. So it's higher in probiotics, and it's a nice lean protein source. So we talked about supplementing probiotics. We talked about foods that are rich in probiotics. That's going to help your gut, which is going to help your mind, believe it or not. Antioxidants are going to reduce toxicity. Berries are high in fiber and antioxidants, so they're a good choice. The other thing that's really beneficial for mental health is omega-3 fatty acids. So they are an essential fat. You might have heard of them before. They're more and more common now in the nutrition world. So where do you get omega-3s? You get omega-3s from salmon. You can definitely add more salmon to your diet. That's going to help you boost your omega-3s. Why? Sorry, I'm going to take a pause because why are omega-3s beneficial? They're essential because we don't make them in the body. So it has to come from diet. And then we also need our omegas to be in a certain ratio. And we actually get a lot of omega-6 from our standard diet. And what happens when we have more omega-6 than omega-3 is that there's more inflammation in the body. So even though omega-6 is an essential fat and we do need it, it's pretty prevalent. We don't really have to worry about getting it into our bodies. What we do need is the omega-3s, and they're more fragile and more difficult to get from diet. So we want to focus on getting omega-3 so that ratio keeps our inflammation low. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. The other thing is your brain is 80% fat. So it needs fat to process everything and to remain healthy. So omega-3 is a healthy fat. This is great for your brain. Where do you find omega-3s? We talked about salmon is a good place. Walnuts are actually very high in omega-3, so they're a good source. And then chia seeds. If you've never seen chia, I have some here I wanted to show you. So these are black chia seeds. I don't know if you can see them in there. They're just tiny. They almost look like poppy seeds. And chia is amazing because it's high in omega-3s, it's high in protein, also high in antioxidants, and high in fiber. So it covers a lot of the things we've been talking about. What I love about them too is they do heal the gut. Why? Because if you've never had chia, then you want to just remember it is a little seed, but when you put it in something that's wet, it will absorb the moisture and get like gooey, for lack of a better word. It'll get gooey. So it's great for things like chia pudding, which we definitely love. When you're putting it on a salad, you want to put your chia seeds, they don't add a different flavor, so they're great to put on and sprinkle everywhere if you can. But you want to put it on kind of last minute, because if you put your chia seeds on and then you put your dressing and you go to work for the day, when you come back, you'll notice that your chia seeds are now like lumpy and kind of glued together. So some people don't mind that texture, some people don't like. So I'm just giving you a heads up if you've never tried chia, that that's something to remember. But that not glutinous, but that, I'm losing the word, but that kind of slippery, gooey texture that the chia seeds will get is very healing to the gut. So I'm going to show you something. It's called chia fresca. It's a way that you can add chia to your water and drink it throughout the day. And what that does is it gives you energy because it's a little bit more nutrition in your water. And it gives you that sustained, slow energy, like because it's high in fiber. Like I said, it has some protein in there, and it is an acquired taste. So here is my chia fresca. If you could see, the chia seeds are kind of just at the bottom there, and they're also, I don't know if you can notice, but they do look like they are swollen because they are swollen. They've absorbed some water. So what you do is you can take, I put this in a jar like this, but you can use half a tablespoon in a jar like this of chia with some fresh pressed lemon juice. I also added some turmeric and some ginger to this, but it's whatever you want. It's whatever flavor you want. If you like making infused water and you use cucumber or mint or strawberry, great, you can do that. The chia is not going to change the flavor. It's just going to give you that added boost and benefit. And then when you drink it, you just kind of stir it up like so, and you drink it. So very different, not for everybody, but maybe you'll want to give it a try. 1 tablespoon of chia gives you about 3.5 grams of beneficial omega-3. And that's exactly what you want to support your mental health, between 3 to 5 grams a day. Getting that from a capsule, you would need like 12 capsules. So doing it through chia is one way. You can also get a supplement. If you do, I would recommend you buy a nice high quality supplement from your health food store, and you get the liquid form, not the capsules. That way you're getting the amount that you need without having to take all these pills, essentially. Okay, so we talked about your gut. We talked about fiber and antioxidants. What else can we talk about? We talked about toxicity. We talked about leaky gut briefly. Leaky gut definitely affects your mental health, because what happens is the cells of your gut they get lazy, we'll say, and the integrity is, the cells are meant to be like this, like nice and tight, and the integrity kind of loosens and the cells become like this, and undigested food particles can actually be reabsorbed into the bloodstream, which then causes systemic issues. And the blood-brain barrier, right? There's no blood-brain barrier, and it's possible that this problematic issue that is now in your blood is going through the brain. So it can trigger moods, it can trigger brain fog, forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, and anxiety if that's something that you're prone to. So you want to heal your gut. How do you do that? We talked about probiotics. Bone broth is a really great way of healing your gut. There's a lot of minerals and deliciousness in homemade bone broth. Fermented vegetables, fermented dairy, omega-3s, and there's herbs and spices as well. So garlic is a good choice, and turmeric as well. So you want to also avoid high sugary, processed, refined carbohydrates. The bad bacteria in your gut that creates toxicity and leaky gut love sugar. That's what they feed off of. So refined carbs that break down very quickly and become sugar in the body, or sweet things, this is what your gut, the bad bacteria in your gut love. So if you find yourself craving sugar, craving alcohol, and craving bread, that is usually an indication that you might have a disbalance in your gut, and you have to think about how to heal your gut. So that's something to consider. And then we want to think about the fact that you want to practice these habits when you're feeling great. Often what happens is when we're feeling great, we kind of loosen up a little bit on our rules. And then we get hit with stress, or something happens, or we get a bad night's sleep, and we start feeling disbalanced. And oftentimes nutrition is the first thing that goes because we're not feeling great. So you want to have these habits in place when you're feeling good, so that when you're not feeling good, it's already your lifestyle. It's not an extra thing that you have to kind of fight against to get your mood to come back up. Tomatoes are also great for mental health. You can eat 6 small cherry tomatoes every day, and that's going to help you. Again, they're high in antioxidants and high in folic acid. And folic acid helps your body convert glucose to energy. And so that's definitely something that we need, right? We need more energy. It also helps protect the fat in your body. So we said your brain was high in fat, so tomatoes will help that. Brazil nuts, last thing I'm going to talk about today is Brazil nuts. They are high in antioxidants as well, high in selenium. And selenium is one of the things that helps prevent your cells from oxidizing. And it also helps your body use essential fats in the right way. So we have our omega-3s, which are essential fats. And then we have some selenium that we need to help metabolize that. 1 Brazil nut a day is all that you need to help keep your selenium levels nice and high. So I think that's it for today. I'm not going to talk too long because I always say I could talk forever about this stuff. Hopefully you've found value from our discussion. If you have any other questions regarding this particular topic, feel free to write them in the comments below. If you have other questions you want to send our way, you can email us at questions@lowfatlowcarb.com. And if you are not yet a free member of the Low Fat Low Carb community, join us. There's so many great things that we offer currently and that are coming up, like exclusive recipes. You have the meal planner. We have amazing questionnaires to really help you identify where you need support in your health and how to have an optimal lifestyle. So hopefully we will see you again soon for our next segment of Inspired Nourishment. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.